Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddy, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
I'll click your link.
So go click the link that I sent so that way I can get that little Bluetooth speaker. Not the little one. It's actually pretty old.
It won't take my account.
Well, and here's the other thing. I'm going to fixing to send y'all the coffee
I've ever
pot
seen
that
Matt
I want
like
too.
this.
Ooh. And that, hey, look, if
Oh,
you
you've
think
seen
he's
me like
passionate,
this.
we ought to talk pre-plans.
Oh, you want to bring up pre-plans, do you? Do you, Chief? Do you?
We're about
Whatever,
to
I'm
make
down for
pre-plans a
whatever.
four-letter word.
Plans are a four-letter word.
I hear you.
Yeah, we got to have pre-plans and tactics and strategies so we can read about how to put out fire on the way to the fire. I don't think so.
Here we go.
Sorry.
Hey,
done.
welcome to Cool Fireman Podcast. You got
Brought to you by UnkySeasoning.com and the Burn Box. Heck yeah.
And the burn box, yes. So thank you guys. And what we're doing is we got started talking. Freddie and I, as you know, we do social media content.
Not well,
And
but we
right
do it.
before yeah, not well.
So do I. Hello. So does Unky. All right.
We do.
Jesus.
We're all on socials, and that was there. But as y'all know, we do put out content, and we do have companies that reach out to us about product reviews and stuff. And one of the apps that we use is a program called We Sponsored. And so we were just talking about how we had both gotten the exact same air fryer this week. And we kind of got talking about it. And if you're watching on Spotify, you'll see Adam and Matt are
Doom
both
scrolling
in their phones. Yeah, they're thumb scrolling and they're on the app seeing what they can get for free. So if you're not on We Sponsored, you need to go check it out. And they're not sponsoring us, but they do have some pretty cool stuff. I mean, you could totally get yet. So
They totally do. They
I'm getting
totally
a
do.
gingerbread crop top, bud.
well, and wait. Not only that, but Freddie got a nice Shure
I
microphone,
did, yeah. This
right,
new
for the podcast.
this new microphone that I'm speaking on right now.
Is this Price is Right or something? Or we got to try to guess how much this crap costs or what?
$1, Bob. $1.
Oh,
$1.
Jesus, we can hear you. But we can hear you all the way in the next. Oh, I got in. Hang tight. It says hang tight.
Oh, I love it.
I'd rather hang loose, brother. Sorry.
So, yes, but we do appreciate everybody who's been listening and interacting on our socials. And one of the things, and Freddie brought it up, so I'm going to let Freddie take over from here. We wanted to do kind of a From the Vault. We got a lot of new listeners, and so folks probably haven't got caught up. But we wanted to revisit a topic, and Freddie, you had a great idea. So what is tonight? What are we going to talk about?
So I'd love to go back. I'm sure that there are people who
It's just really
know
loud.
how to fix that.
I don't know
doesn't
either.
have a volume thing.
That microphone is really powerful.
We can hear you in the next county.
Um,
He's in his bunker right now, but they know where you're at, buddy. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sure that there are plenty of new probationary firefighters. What is going on right now?
This podcast is an
We're
absolute
off the rails.
nightmare.
I'm
I
sure
love
there's
it.
been a lot of new firefighters that have been hired over the last couple of years that we've been putting these podcasts together. And so we kind of wanted to recount some of the different etiquettes of the firehouse. We'll kind of maybe go over our own probations, stuff that we did that we really wouldn't do again, maybe some stuff that we wish we would have done, and maybe some tips and tricks. If you are new and you are looking to kind of make a big impact on the fire department that you are on or that you're maybe joining. Hopefully there are people out there that are sharing this with their new firefighters just so that they can get maybe a leg up on the competition if they're interviewing for departments or if they've been hired and they're, starting soon. So with that, we can, I guess, dive right into like maybe first thing.
I want to know where the phrase came. The phrase, I want a leg up on you. Like, what does that mean?
I think it's a pirate thing, like when they had a peg leg. And it was like, we were going to vote for you, but that guy's got two legs, so he has a leg up on you.
Sparrow has a leg up on you. Sorry.
I don't think. I've heard that before, but I don't know that keys me into a rookie statement. I don't know. But is that something you heard as a rookie? He's one leg up on you.
a leg up on you?
No,
yeah, that's
that's like a very well-known
you're like hedging
phrase,
your bet,
Brian.
or you have inside knowledge.
I got a leg up on you. Like
No, I got that. Like, I understand that. But I'm sorry. Never mind. I was
sorry,
thinking-
my joke went. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be like serious. I was just messing around. It was supposed to get a funny ha-ha. But it
You know
didn't.
me. I only know
So-
serious. I'm sorry.
So to kind of break this up, I guess maybe into segments, why don't we talk about right out the gate, early morning, first thing when you get into shift, maybe expectations or etiquette that you guys feel like on your departments is something that's important that maybe a low guy or a new probationary expected is obviously a good word, but should be doing to kind of ingrain themselves within the fabric of each fire department. So I don't know, Matt, you're an officer. Do you want to start? Because I'm sure coming from the driver's seat to the officer's seat, there's a little bit different expectations of what you want out of your guys. And I think you said you have a probationary right now, don't you?
I do. And he's a badass. This guy's a killer. And what makes him a killer? Like that's what you guess. That's kind of what you're asking. That's what you're looking for. And then we have kids that are ambulance operators with us that I also have at my station that I supervise. And some of them are bouncing a flat ball. And it's like, gosh, I mean, they're not going to listen to this, but let's just make it like, we'll just make general statements about new people and wanting to get into the fire service. And this is what I'll say: have pride in the process and enjoy the process. Have fun with the process. The process is not necessarily fun, but it can be. It's hard. It's very hard. There is a lot of things that you have to know in the fire service, a ton of things. You go to the basic fire academy if you don't get hired with a big city like Doug, and you go through your basic fire academy. You learn basic things, firefighting 101. Combustion and convection and conduction and radiation and all this crap. How fire breathes and moves and blah. How to put it out. But when it comes down to pulling hose and commands and there's the inner workings and culture of the fire department you get hired with, there's a lot of stuff that you got to know. You got to know passwords. You got to know how to get into your email. You got to know how to talk to your officer. What if you get hurt? What to do? There's just so much stuff. There's so much stuff. And so just embrace that. That's all I said. That's all I would say. That's my suggestion is embrace the process of getting hired as a firefighter. It's a full-time job trying to get hired as a full-time firefighter in California, at least. Sure. Right. And this is like a great discussion because I feel like, and I've said this very recently, that maybe I haven't done a good job of like bridging back and forth. All you guys are either, mostly Eastern time zone, at least. And I'm over here on the West Coast, and it's very competitive process still here. And we talked about retention versus hiring issues. And maybe we've seen a little bit of a drop, but it's mostly retention. And guys are moving away from lower paying firefighting jobs to higher paying, maybe bigger departments or just departments that pay more or whatever. So it's different here. And so a lot of our social media engagement was, no way, it's a hiring issue. We have a hiring issue. We used to have 1,000 people show up for our tests, and now we have 200. I get it, right? That's a great discussion. That's why we started this whole thing, is to have this discussion. Nobody's right or wrong, but I'm here to tell you that on the West Coast, and again, prove me if I'm wrong, but I just don't see a hiring issue. We have thousands of guys still going for the big departments, LA, San Diego, Orange County, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, for even a small department like ours. So my whole thing is just try to enjoy it, man. Enjoy the ride. You're getting paid little money. You're having to do station visits where you're buying donuts and coffee and ice cream to go and give to these guys to do station visits and learn their way. And that way, when you go into a interview, hey, I did a station 2 visit and I learned, I met Captain so-and-so and he taught me this. And that goes a long ways, man. That costs a lot of money though. When you're putting in 10, 20, 30 applications, So that's my whole thing, is have fun with it. And if you're having fun with it, it's going to show, and you're going to be proud of your work, proud of to be in that low paying position, because you know that you're learning, you're green, you're going to be better, and you're going to finally get the ultimate prize of the best job in the world, which is being a fireman. And so that's my whole
No, I
thing.
like it. And I want to redirect a little bit. So that was an awesome way to describe like the getting into it and what you should do to get into it. And what I want to redirect to is, all right, so you've been hired by XYZ fire department, and you're showing up for your first day, whether you're on 40s for a couple of weeks. That's something that my fire department does. You're on 40s for 2 weeks. You learn everybody, you kind of paperwork, you're just doing day stuff. All right. So you're showing up for your 40s. You as a captain now, what are you expecting out of that probie when he or she walks in the door? What do you expect? Do they need to go make the coffee? Should they be immediately checking out a truck? Do you want them doing chores? Like what's it like on the West Coast, I suppose? And we can bounce around a little bit, but that's what I want to know, or at least lay out there, so that if anybody's listening to this and they're walking into their first day, and it's like, okay, so there's fire departments out there that want me to start cleaning first.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say this is true for the whole West Coast, right? I have limited experience. I worked with the Orange County Fire for a while. Now I'm with my current department. But when I was a volunteer firefighter, or the first day I got hired, let's just say, because that's what you're asking, right? I'd show up. I was an hour early. So we have shift change at 07. So I was there at usually between 05:30 and 06. And I was making sure that the newspaper, we used to have newspapers.
And that's a thing.
Don't have newspapers. Right. We don't have newspapers anymore. But we have lights on our flags. So we don't take our flags down every night at our station. Some stations might. It's a cultural thing. We don't. We have lights on our flags so they can stay up all night. They're all weather. And we'll take them down in the rain. But anyway, so we get there early, coffee started, newspaper all lined out in different ways. And then we used to do a unit roster. So we'd print out the unit roster. We'd have the entire department roster, because we only have 4 stations. So that's all laid out. So that way, when the guys get up, they can see who's coming in for them or who's working at certain stations if they're coming on. And then, I forgot. But number one thing, make sure your gear is there, right? Make sure your gear is straight. You're checking out all the medical gear and all the fire gear. Make sure you're looking at all the compartments. Make sure, who knows? They did. I've done it. We did training on ladders, and we had the rubbish hook out. The rubbish hook got left at where we were training. They came in the next day. They're like, "Hey, there's no rubbish hook." I'm like, "Oh shit!" Went back, grabbed it. No big deal. That was ice cream. But it's again. I go back. It's like, take pride. It's God. There's so many avenues that you can go with this, but it's a year of probation for a reason. It's sometimes it's monotonous stuff, or it's just stuff that it's like, why do I need to know this? But it's a rite of passage. Is probation. It can be, for sure. Right. There's some things where you're just like, you show the guys that you want to be there, that you want to be in that department, and you're going to be brothers and sisters or comrades, whatever you want to call it, for the next 30 years. And that's what's so special about the fire department. I love it. I think I love that part of it. I think all 4 of us, that's what drives us to this podcast and keep this conversation going and that whole thing. But as far as what you're asking, it's, show up early, leave late, make sure you're first to the phone, you're making the coffee. Coffee's not made, make sure it's made. Newspaper's out, all your gear is on, you're signed in, you've checked your emails, make sure that anybody that has issues it's addressed right away. It's that kind of stuff. Be first to everything. And there's like every good rookie shall, right? Everybody's seen it. There's like 45,000 different posters of every good rookie shall. And we know them all. Bust through a wall if you have to get to that phone first. It's an expectation, 100%. And that's all part of the game. And I hate to call it a game, but it is. It's a game. It's a game of showing these guys that you want it, right? Because fortunately enough, there's 1,000 people outside that door that are knocking on the door going, hey, can I be a fireman here? Hey, can I be a fireman here? Hey, yeah, I got a spot open. This guy doesn't run to the phone. He doesn't make sure that, everybody's gear is good. He doesn't, so just stuff like that, an off-duty captain or a firefighter, if anything, pulls up to drop their gear off from overtime the next day, get out there, help him pull it all in, put it in his locker for him, make sure he's dialed in. That's all part of a good rookie, man. And it bleeds into the rest of your career. You can tell, man. I can, you can tell someone's personality, the way that they're going to be the next 30 years by just watching them. And a few months in, because maybe those first few months they can hide, but a year, it's tough to hide for 365 days.
Brian, what about you? You're kind of in a different role now. Obviously, you used to work the line.
How do y'all break in the secretaries?
Good answer, or good question. So I'm gonna go back to something that was instilled with me, and folks in admin. A good department will start them on the line. I'll just say that we better have appreciation for all perspectives. I tell people all the time that I think that the one thing that the police department does really well is they move people around in service. So they'll spend a little bit of time in traffic. They'll do a little bit of time in training and everything else. So put a pin in that. That's a conversation for a totally different day. But one of the things that I will say is that in the fire marshal's office and in most parts of day service is almost everybody starts on the line, just like everybody else. We were all a rookie at some point. We all cleaned toilets. We rode the truck. Now our time in service may be a little bit different. We found the niche, just like somebody found medic, somebody found hazmat, somebody found USAR. We found our niche. We found our specialty as a piece on the chessboard is the best way to say that. So I want to go back to two things that resonate with me. Number one was my captain told me very early on. He said, "Did they give you a steno pad?" And I said, "Yes, sir, they did." He said, "Why isn't it in your hand?" When I was a rookie, and I said, "I don't know." And he says, "That's the problem right out the gate." He said, "I don't have time to tell you twice. I have enough stuff to worry about in this firehouse. So when I tell you something, I want you to write it down." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Because if it's not important, you can scratch through it. If it's an assignment, if it's to go do this, if it's to do that, whatever. But if it's a tip, if it's a trick, if it's something that could save your life, you need to write it down and you need to remember it. As a rookie, you need to remember it. If it's, hey, 2 shorts, a long, and then the rest are short for the way that we're doing a flat load, you write that down because we don't have time to go over that again. Because when we go to train again and pull hose, you need to remember that. You need to be sitting in the day room going over it again and again and again and again by yourself," which was the second point. So we were in the day room one day. It was a kind of a rainy fall afternoon. I got hired July 22nd, 2002, and it was the fall, and I was taking my EMT. We would do nighttime classes back then. We didn't really have a traditional fire academy in EMT, so we would do nighttime classes for those. Excuse me. And so for me, I was sitting in the day room and I was studying EMT. Captain was in there doing who knows what, EMTs, evalves, whatever a captain was doing at that time. I don't know. My senior drivers, what would have been the rank of lieutenant, was doing map studies, right? So he has map book out and he was doing his thing. My senior firefighter was getting ready for his engineer test and I was studying EMT. In other words, we were looking busy for when the chief showed up, is basically what we were doing because we were supposed to be doing training. And they were out telling stories out in the day room. And I was just soaking all of this up and I was loving life, right? I was 4 months on the job and it was phenomenal. My EMT book was open. I was fitting in, and I'll never forget my captain came out. He got his cup of coffee and he walked back and he walked past me and he said, "Kelly, my office." And I was like, "Oh gosh, what did I do?" So I would go walking in there. He said, "Close the door." And I closed the door and he said, "You understand all this can go away?" And I was like, "Sir?" And he said, "All this can go away." He said, "You're not taking it serious." See, all of those guys, they've got what they need. They can sit around, they can talk, and they can look busy. You're in your probationary status. You don't pass EMT, you're done. Kind of goes back to what Matt said as a captain. He was putting me in check. He said, there are 50 other people that would gladly ride down the road, look at the pretty girl at the stoplight, just like you do, and be tickled to death to make the money that you do, to work 10 days a month. You're not taking this serious. I would highly suggest that you go find somewhere quiet and take this and own this moment. And that's what my rookie tip would be for these folks, is take that year serious. You're going to build the foundation of what you do. Write it down, right? And so when I bring someone in, kind of goes back, how do you train the secretary? How do you train the fire inspector? How do you train whoever? When I have my first expectations meeting, I tell somebody the same thing that my captain told me is, why don't you have something to write in your hand? Because I don't have time to tell you twice. I don't have time to do these other things, because just like my station captain, I have a million other things that I'm responsible for.
I think Matt's going to steal that.
And so do they. Yeah. So why don't you have something to write it down with? Because at the end of the day, that's going to help you look so much better, because you don't have to come back to that officer and say, hey, remember you told me how to do this, but I don't remember. So when it comes time for you to get promoted, because that's what you want to do, right? You're going to be able to say, I didn't require hand holding, right? I didn't require somebody to tell me 15 times. I wrote it down. I took ownership for myself, for my crew, for the department. And so that it's not about being a kiss up or a show off. It's about taking your job seriously in whatever it is. And I'm talking, it wasn't a write down this policy, write down the mission statement, write down anything. It was everything that we did. And so that way you could go back to it. So that way you didn't have to look like Boo Boo the Fool walking back in there asking again about how you did something. Hey, how do I use the floor scrubber out in the bay? Little things like that. I mean, it just makes all the difference in the world. So that's my
Let me
tip.
peel the onion on that just a little bit. I know Matt looks like he wants to jump in, but what's huge, and I've seen it at departments, and I've talked to guys that I teach with at the academy, and they do it too as officers or as senior firefighters, is they hear the battalion chief or the lieutenant or something talking to the probie. Hey, XYZ, elemental P, then they'll go up to him, maybe later in the shift, maybe a day later, be like, hey, you want to go train on the ladder? You know anything about it? They'll go out there, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. And it's one of those things where it's like, dude, I literally just heard the lieutenant talking to you about this ladder and telling you this XYZ elemental P. And it was 4 hours ago. And you're telling me you can't remember that? So it's either you and yes, as firefighters, we go to extremes, right? Oh, so you don't care enough. So if I go down in a fire, you're not going to be able to drag me out because you can't remember where the axe is on the truck, right? We go to extremes, but there's a reason for it, because we take that pride, right? We care enough about it.
But I think Freddie, by nature, firefighters learn by repetition. So does every kid, right? Like firefighters are big kids.
We are children.
And so, right. So we're going to learn by repetition. So we have to do that. And I think that's why the captain told me that. Write it down, right? Like, I will not spit on my brother. I will not spit on my brother. And so we had to, by repetition, write it down and then read it over and over again and do it, because those little things are things that we're going to do as firefighters over and over and over again in our career. And I think that's the reason why he told me to do that, was so that way when it came down to it, number one is I didn't make him look bad. He didn't want to look bad. I didn't want to look bad. And so it was something that helped us be more efficient as a crew.
Matt?
So.
Yes. The only thing I wanted to say was Brian brought up expectations, crew expectations. And I know we're sitting here talking about probie stuff, and it's relative. But one of my favorite things as a company officer is crew expectations, and getting that out there, and what your expectations are at the beginning of your year or whatever your time is with your crews. But my number one thing is, like, I don't write your evaluation. You write your own evaluation. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just the messenger. I just put ink to paper. Right. But if you choose to go do a conference, or you choose to go to classes, or you choose to put on a training for the shift, you choose to do well on calls and be focused on calls and all this stuff, that's on you, man. That's on you. So I don't know. I just wanted to
like that.
interject that. I just wanted to interject that because I heard Brian say something about expectations or whatever. And that's like one of my favorite parts of expectations is to say that. And if you want, because we do extra like EPP, it's like performance pay or whatever. It's like a little bonus at the end of the year if you take on areas of responsibilities, because we don't really contract out a lot of stuff. I know that we made jokes over the last few podcasts that we do, but the reason that we do contract out for pre-planned stuff or gear cleaning is because all of us have very extensive areas of responsibilities. And I had wrote on the TikTok as a comment is like, if a SCBA goes down, who does it? Firefighter. If an iPad gets crushed, who does it? Firefighter. If ladders need to get tested, who does it? Firefighter. Those are all our areas of responsibility. And Brian, you remember when we were sitting in Leland during that class, I said, hey, what happens if an SCBA goes down? What do you guys do? Oh, we call such and such and they come pick it up and they repair it. Oh, really? Interesting. Because we have a firefighter that's in charge of saying, okay, hey, leave it at station 2. He'll pick it up. He'll talk to the vendor, make sure the vendor knows about it. He'll get it fixed. He'll get it back. Then he'll put it back in service. That's all on one of our engineers. Yep. And he does all of our thermal imaging cameras. He does all of our sniffers or our gas detectors. And so that's his area of responsibility. And he also does rookie training. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And that's some of the stuff that I didn't really convey in that one couple podcasts ago. But anyways, you write your own eval. Just remember that as a firefighter, your captain or whoever your supervisor is does not write your eval. You write your own eval. Like that, and that couldn't be more true. And I'll fight that to the death. Unky looks like he wants to fight.
Yeah,
me
Unc,
right
what's some expectations?
We physically write our own evals, and our supervisor, he writes it if he agrees with it or doesn't agree with it. So we literally write our own evals.
Unc, I don't know how many new guys that you guys get on a regular basis. I don't know what your turnover is, but what are some expectations coming
for
in?
For every one that comes in, 3 people leave. That's our turnover. And we've been getting like 20 to 30 people every month.
What are some expectations coming in on the federal side?
It's brutal.
Well, I always tell everybody right out of the gate, there's 4 things you got to do. Let's see if I can remember them all. Show up on time. Show up in uniform. Get on the truck when there's a call. And don't lie.
Number 4 is the biggest one.
Wait, what's number? Wait, say that. Wait,
elaborate on it. That's
say it again. Say it again. What is it?
4?
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Oh, don't lie. Oh, got
okay.
It. Got it. Yeah.
And I always wait for it to last because I got to explain that. Because if you're in a part of an official investigation, all right, the chief wants to know, he started a formal investigation, wants to know who stole the number 2 pencil off his desk. Okay. We all know that's not a big deal. But when you're in a part of an investigation, and if you lie, you're immediately terminated. Federal government does not play around. You lie, you're gone. So something as simple as who took my pencil, if it's an official investigation, and you lie about it, you can say, I took it. Oh, nothing happened to you, but if you lie, you're out the door. So those are the 4 things I tell everybody when they come in. The old regime that, the old shift commanders we had, it didn't matter. So gassy. All right. I tell everybody, also show up 30 minutes before shift. Try to get there at 6:30. Some old chiefs would tell you, show up early enough that if you get a flat tire, you can change it and still show up on time.
What if I don't know how to change a tire?
My wife hates us for this culture. My wife hates us. Hates us.
The shift commander, does not matter if you called and you said you're going to be late for any reason, he said you should have left sooner. I was told I should have left sooner. I try to leave my house at 3:00 in the morning, right after a snowstorm. I've been at home on a break. This is my first day returning after a couple of days of snow. So I've been trying to leave. I normally leave 5:00. It's 3:00. I was told you should have left sooner. I was like, you're going to be late, snow on the ground. I left my house 4 hours. I live 40 minutes away. I left 4 hours before shift change. You should have left sooner. So anyways, and I was going to do this one to poke at Matt and Brian. Don't be a loser. Want to learn. Show that you care. Don't be that guy that just shows up and does nothing. All right? You make sure you want to learn. Know the truck. As it was said earlier, the notepad. The famous notepad. Always have your notepad, your pen, and a decent, you can be a crappy pocket knife.
Yeah.
Because somebody always forgets their pen. Somebody always forgets a knife. So be the good guy. Don't be a loser. Have that pen, notepad, and a knife with you. When I first started, actually, every time I change my station and we get a new truck, or a new truck to me, I go through it in my notebook. I write all of the specs of the trucks out that I need to know, height and clearance, all the compartments, what's in there. Because I was trained, if the captain comes up to you and he goes, where's the Halligan at? Or wherever this tool is. You can't go and start flinging up doors. He wants an answer.
You can't do ring around the rosy.
They will always accept you. If you don't know off the top of your head where it's at, they will accept the notebook. And then you say, my notebook says it's this compartment on this shelf. All right, let's see if it's true. And so they will accept that. Ask questions. Rookies, I tell everybody, ask to learn. As the firefighter, yes, we teach you. All right. But there's something you want to learn, ask. Don't be sitting around and doing nothing and away from everybody else. When you see everybody get together, like at my station, we hang out in the back of the bay at shift change. You need to be out there with us because we're talking about what went on this shift before. We're doing changeover out there. And we're talking, mostly BS about what's going on in the department, but you start to hear, things that are going around. So be around everybody and don't tell all your secrets. New kids have the hardest problem doing that, coming in and telling all their little secrets. And because you got to know your audience. If you don't know your audience, it will be used against you. So that's what you get.
But I just want to fit in.
Tough shit.
Unky, I just want to fit in.
That's why you sit there and you listen. You be where everybody else is at, and you realize who's those people that you can share your details with and who you cannot. And last thing I got, hold on. One thing that always gets overlooked: visitors. Certain departments have a policy where visitors got to be gone by a certain time. If you're a rookie, yes, you want to show up the truck. You want to show everybody that you're a firefighter. Mom, dad want to come. Get it. Ask. And then they'll tell you yes or no, because we might be doing something. And, usually it's some departments, it's like 10 o'clock, visitors got to be gone, or 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Find out when your visitor has to be gone, and they got to be gone. No hanging out in the parking lot. They got to be gone. So that's it. That's all I got.
I got a quick question for the whole group. How important is the pen? It was like, for me, and I get it, I'm one of the older guys, almost 25 years ago, it was like drilled into me. You always had to have a pen. Like it was, you would get like back-to-back hose lays during rookie training if you were caught without a pen.
I think
that's
anybody
the
else?
most powerful tool.
I think it was
most powerful tool that we have.
So for me, I've had probation on 2 separate departments, and one of them being after I was 11 years in the service, 39 years old, going to a completely different department. My first department, when I got hired on, our shift time was at 7 a.m. You're expected to be there at 6:30 on the button. And when I started, we had something called a roll call uniform, which was a powder blue shirt, a pair of Elbeco dress pants. You had to wear your duty boots. And then you had, depending on the season, you either had a roll call winter jacket or a roll call spring jacket. And then you had a tie. And you had to wear that to work, come in, and then change into your duty uniform. But when you're on probation, get there at 6:30, you're expected, because it was seniority positions, the lowest guy is the tech on the ambulance until you get people underneath you. So you were expected to have your butt in the back of the ambulance, checking it out, making sure everything's in there, cleaning it up, making it good. 7 o'clock, you're allowed to run upstairs, switch out your clothes. And for your first year, you weren't allowed to wear a job shirt. You're not allowed to wear a polo shirt. You weren't allowed to take off and wear a t-shirt after 8 p.m. You had to be in your fatigue button-up shirt until bedtime, like 9 o'clock.
Fatigue.
Yep.
Nice.
So after that, you're doing your cleaning, making sure coffee's made, stuff like that. That was kind of the routine for the beginning of the day. You're definitely studying your maps. You're going over protocols, SOPs. My first department was obviously my first fire job ever. I didn't really have any experience, didn't do the volley, anything like that. I learned, I think it took me about 6 months. I had a pile of dirt that I would hide under the utility truck. And when I didn't have anything to do, I would go and grab the broom and I would take that dirt and I would push it around the bay, and I'd just be constantly sweeping. And if something happened, then I'd push the dirt back underneath the truck, go put the broom away, come back, find my dirt, push it around. So that was 11 years there. I was the low guy for 4 years at my first department before I finally, started getting some seniority. And then that was quick, man. We hired like 8 at one time. And I was, you go from low guy to all of a sudden, your shit doesn't stink anymore. So, onto the department I'm on now, was definitely, I guess you could say, like a wake up call. It was like hey, you're not the senior guy anymore. There's like 7 pegs that you think you're standing on. So get your ass down. You're expected, our shift changes at 8. You're expected to be there at 7, shaved, in uniform, and cleaning all the bathrooms, doing all the chores, which, being a union president for 6 years, I had a huge problem with. Huge. Because there were some guys there, the 330 guys. You guys know what 330 guys are, right? We've talked about that before. Guys who got 3 years on, they think they got 30 years. The old 330s. Yeah. They'd come up to you and be like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? You should be doing this. You should be doing that." And it's like, all right, fuck off. And my big problem that I had with it, being a former union president, is you are yelling, chastising me. You're getting 127 free hours of labor out of somebody, and you're giving me a hard time about it because I walked out of the locker room at 7:01 and not 6:59. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my, like, there was definitely some rough patches for me there. But you're making the coffee, you're making sure the dishwasher's emptied, you're doing all the chores, you're doing the green book. Again, you're checking, making sure all your gear, that was something that kind of goes overlooked, getting your gear by the truck.
Everything that everybody else doesn't want to do.
And it is. You're getting to the phone first. You're answering the door first. You're teaching. I still, to this day, only because I enjoy teaching CPR, but we every other Wednesday we hold a friends and family hands only CPR class at Station 1, and it's free to sign up. People come in and learn hands only CPR. Guess who's teaching that? It's the low guy that day, and so you're down there. You're teaching CPR, and that's just it's part of it. and you can't go to bed until 10, and you have to be up at 6:30 in the morning. You can't make your rack until 10. That's a rule at my department right now. If you're on probation, you can't, there's no lunchtime nap, and you can't make your rack until 10 p.m.
Dude, it's interesting. I've seen a couple of TikTok or social media posts of the guys making their probies do funny things, do like these interpretive dances in order to get time in the brown chairs. Have you seen that? So these guys, they'll turn on like music, and it'll be like, like jungle music, and like these guys will come out and the caption says like, Proby doing interpretive dance for time in the chair or something. And like they'll come out and they'll start like dancing, and I'm like, I mean, we make them do the interpretive dance, and we still don't give them time in the brown chair.
Good job. Wasn't good enough. Go sit in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Go study something. Now you got something to do. But yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying, dude. It's and globally, I think what we're all saying is like, you got to do the stuff that everybody doesn't want to do. You're the low man on the totem pole. It is what it is. Suck it up, buttercup. Have a smile on your face. Take the jokes. Have fun. And it's so, I'll say this. There's a guy that's one of my best friends in the fire department. And it was the first guy that I ever met. I was there as a reserve in the interview process. He was there, had a great interview. And ever since, him and I have been friends. And now I'm obviously there full time, and he's a captain about ready to retire. He came up with rules. And we used to have a man wall. We had like John Wayne and Richard Nixon. Like we had like Ronald Reagan up there, like so we could have dinner with real men, like in our like pictures, like headshots of like men, and he instituted that shit. And he came up with 5 rules, and it's now 10, but I'll leave it at 5. Number 1, give it your all. Number 1, give it your all. 100% of you give it to us. Give it to yourself. And like what Brian's saying, it's so important, right? Embrace that rookie year. Number 2, you're a grown ass man. Just remember, you are a grown ass man, right? Whatever it is, complaints, blah, blah, blah. Dude, you're a grown ass man. Number 3, worry about your own god darn underwear. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about what he's doing. Worry about your own gosh darn underwear. And rule number 4, have fun. Have fun. And that's what I said when we first started this podcast, is have fun with the whole process. Yeah. If you have an interview, I tell these guys, I say, hey, he goes, hey, Captain Rolf, can we do a mock interview today? Absolutely. Yeah. Love that you asked, dude. Great being proactive. Be here at 3:30 for your interview. We act like we go out, we grab them, we bring them in. Hey, sit here, hold on, wait, now come in and have a seat. We do the whole thing. And they go through their whole spiel. They do their whole thing. We give them criticism. I said, dude, you need to have fun with the process. You got to come in, big smile on your face. I said the best interviews that I ever had for a firefighter was the ones where at the very end I go, sir, to be very honest with you, I would love to see your badge on my chest. Like I want to wear that badge. I cannot wait to be a such and such department firefighter. Yeah. I can't wait. And they're just like, holy shit, right? Like have fun with it. It's nerve wracking and it takes a while to get to that point, but get there, right? Have fun. Rule number 5 doesn't exist. I can't tell you that one. I'm not allowed to. But rule number 10 is twice as bad as rule number 10 or rule number 5. But anyway, we have up to 10. I'm just going to give you the first 4 or 5, but those are it. And if you can live by those rules, I think you're going to do pretty damn well.
Let's do some real quick rapid fire, a couple of different topics. Rapid fire etiquette, things that you need to make sure you do or you don't do. Dinner table, round robin. Everybody throw 1 or 2 in. All right, ready? Dinner table, meals. Matt, go.
First the dishes. How many you want me to do?
Just whatever pops into your head when you think like etiquette at the dinner table.
Don't fart.
There you go.
if you're traveling.
Shit.
That was an old one.
That was an old one. If you're traveling or you're new, don't sit down until everyone else that's there gets their seat.
No.
Yes.
So that right there, that's an underrated proby skill. is you need to take a couple of weeks when you first start and figure out who likes to sit where, who likes to watch TV where, and who likes to set their bed up where. Because there's nothing worse that you can do as a probie and piss off somebody, a 30-year guy, is to go and make your rack in the rack that he likes.
We don't have assigned seating, but that's my seat.
No, we have assigned seating. There's 100% assigned seating. All 4 of our stations have assigned seating. We don't have assigned seating, but we don't have
assigned seating, but that's my seat.
That is my seat.
That's what I'm saying. That's an easy way to earn cool points. If you're a probie, that's an easy way to earn cool points. Is you get your plate last, and that allows you to be able to see where everyone's going to sit that night, and just
And here's a tip: I don't care if you're somebody that gets big portions. If you're somebody, when you're on shift your first year, you may have to kind of be a little bit hungry. You can make yourself a snack later when everything winds down. Don't take so much food on your plate that you can't finish first, because you're already going to be the last one to get your plate. If you load it up with, Nacho Mountain, and you're sitting there and everybody else is up cleaning up their plates, and you're sitting there like shoving food, like that's strictly what I used to tell my probies too, is, hey man, take less now and you can eat leftovers later, or make yourself a PB&J when everybody starts crashing. Like, don't be the probie that's sitting there, eating.
Freddie, that made me think of the rescue FD lady, and I cannot remember her name. That's not to save my life.
Megan.
Everybody remembers her. But what made me think of that was because of how fast we eat. That's what instills in us that we have to eat so fast, is because we may get a call and we have to be the first one done. So everybody is just thinking rookie. So it's a race to finish. That's all it is.
Even when I'm a guest at another fire station, I've been in the fire department for 22 years. I'm a guest. I get a decent. I'm a big boy, so I get a nice portion. I'm the last one, unless they have rookies in their station, and I'm the last one to get seconds too, because we don't buy in. The station takes care of it themselves. So I'm a guest. I'm eating their food. I didn't buy into it, so they don't have to pay when they come over to my station. So I'm always respectful that way. I wait till everybody gets their second portions. Then I go up there and I still get I don't shove it down and get a big old plate. I still get same size.
Just be polite.
Cadets,
just be polite.
I tell my cadets in the fire academy, I have them raise their hand. I'm like, hey, who out there knows how to cook? Who likes to cook? Who's ever cooked? And you get like real sparing, like 2 or 3. We've got a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds, whatever. And I was like, listen, it is not an excuse to say I don't know how. I said, go home, watch YouTube, watch Food Network, learn how to make 3 or 4 decent dishes. Don't go crazy. Don't be fancy. You don't need to make chicken cordon bleus, but you need to be able to make a few meals, because it's gonna be your turn, and you're gonna have to cook. Anything else for the kitchen?
There's recipes. If you can't read and follow directions on a recipe, we got a bigger problem.
Huge problem. Anything else for the kitchen?
There's so much, but we'll stop there.
How about the back?
Don't
bringing up some old feelings from some old episodes.
Do your probies watch the TV during dinner?
They have their back to it.
We have 5 of us in the station. 2 of them are AOs, wannabe firefighters, and the one we have and I told you, this, we have a probationary firefighter. So there's 3 out of the 5 of us that just like sit there all day at dinner. They eat and then they just sit there. And me and my engineer are just like sitting there, fart. No, I'm just kidding. We don't fart. I banned to farting at the dinner table. But so we just sit there, crack jokes, have fun, watching TV. We got football on Monday nights, and there's these other 3 going. So annoying. That's so annoying. But it's needed. I understand where it's all good. It's necessary.
All right.
What's your next one?
Bunk room etiquette.
Don't fart.
Well, for me, you were talking about, Freddie, not making your bed till late at night. My department,
you guys all have separate rooms, right?
It depends on your station. The station I'm currently at, we had our own rooms, but majority of our stations are open bunk rooms or like some kind of petition. The tops that got up. So when I was at the in Norfolk at that base, they actually had an SOP that your bed had to be made by a certain time. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it had to be made like 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that. You weren't allowed to be in it, but it had to be done. So if people went to bed, whatever time during the day, later in the afternoon or evening, that you didn't disturb them. You weren't the guy at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, banging around in the dark trying to make their bed. So if you got to find that nice balance of being your rack to make it, then you leave it.
Yep.
I love that.
Invest in a cheap pair of headphones. It's nothing worse than you're sitting there doom scrolling on TikTok and you hear somebody's like, it happened that you hear it all the time. Like we have similar to Unky's. Ours is kind of like a long hallway and it just has half walls and there's bunks in there. We've got like 3 and then 6. So there's 9 of them. And so lieutenant wing and then whatever. But you hear somebody in there just scrolling and it's like, savage love. Da, da, da. And it's like, dude, I've heard it. I've heard the senior guy is like, hey, headphones or cut it off. And it's like, hey,
dim your screen,
turn off.
We have our own
reading light. What have you? If you want to read, go do it in the day room because
we have our own bedrooms and we have 2 beds in each room. So we don't have to hot sheet every night. Nice. Super great. Super great.
Well, I think.
What else? What's the third one?
What's that?
Another one? Or are we done?
No, I think that's good. I think we've covered. Right. I think we've covered a lot. I think this was good. If you're still here, that's awesome. I really hope that you do
barely
pass this along to people that you know that are maybe new to the fire service, getting into the fire service. Maybe this was a good refresher for yourself. Like, hey, how come some of the guys at the department are treating me like crap? And you're like, oh, I'm doing a couple of these things that they said not to do. Maybe it's good that everybody tightens himself up because you get into ruts or you get into some complacency sometimes. And
complacency kills.
And maybe you haven't emptied the dishwasher. You've been, sleeping until your shift changes at 8 o'clock. Maybe you're sleeping until 7:45. Everybody else is doing the chores and everybody's pissed at you.
Yeah.
I would say for the engagement piece of this is drop a comment and let us know your rookie tip. If you're listening, that would be a good thing for us to share because maybe you've got something that would be of value that we didn't.
Yeah, like maybe we can make maybe we can make like a little ebook, the Cool Fireman Podcast rookie tips, something like that. And it's provided by all of our listeners and some stuff from us. Like maybe you could help us be a part of our first ebook.
I don't know about that. I think we're talking to ourselves at this point. It's 54 minutes.
Let's.
I'm just kidding.
Do our housekeeping. Make sure you guys remember that Unky Seasoning, Cool Fireman Podcast, premier sponsor, and then
yes.
Burn Box. One of our buddies, Tom, puts out an awesome thing. He has a couple of different products he puts out. The FD Collectors Club and the Burn Box. Check them out. They are incredible. Look for the videos from us monthly on that. And real quick, we're going to do our moment of silence for anybody that we may have lost in the last week.
Wasn't there, real quick before we do it, wasn't there somebody who had reached out to us about it? I think there was.
Oh, shoot. You're totally right.
There was a listener who asked us for us to give them a shout out. And I know we're in a panic right now.
Oh, I know where it is. Give me 1 second. We're going to find out. It's 100% worth it. Hold on. You're totally right. They reached out to us on TikTok and hold on. I can find it in 2 seconds. Gosh darn it. I think it was on the Chief Hayes episode and we talked about, oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
So this is the reason why, while you're looking that up, Matt, this is the reason why it's so important because I want people to know that we read every comment and we engage with every comment, and we value every comment. We screenshot it, we share it with people, because we understand the importance of what you guys share back and forth with us, because it is important. And here we are, well into the evening on a weekday night, and we could easily be able to be spending this time with our family. And not only is it that we're enjoying it with each other, but with you. And so whenever you're listening to this, whenever you're engaging, we want to be able to do that. So Matt, what
okay, so Gretchen, not Wilson. So her name is, I would imagine her name is Gretchen. She lost her husband, who was a fireman. It says that my husband passed and I was left with 2 kids in school. Miss him terribly. He was declared a LODD by the state. His name is etched on the wall in Richmond, Virginia. So her husband was a line of duty death in Virginia. And we told her, of course, absolutely. Thank you so much for remembering this, Brian. Oh my God, I got way too much going on. Gretchen, you are in our thoughts, in our prayers, and you are definitely in our moment of silence tonight for your husband and for your whole family. And I know that we've lost other firefighters this week. I think there was a fire in Houston. They lost a firefighter. I can't remember exactly. I mean, gosh darn, I can't. This is like overwhelming. But yes, we did get reached out to on one of Chief Hayes's amazing podcast clips on TikTok of him talking about firefighter benefits and all the crazy stuff that happens after a line of duty death. It's unbelievable. So this moment of silence is for all of our brothers and sisters, and a special dedication to Gretchen and her husband that she lost on a line of duty death in Virginia.
Amen.
Well said. Oh God, I can't even imagine. It's just we get reached out to all the time on social media, and it's good, bad, and the ugly of social media. Sometimes it makes me just want to quit. Some of the comments that we get, it's unreal. But this is the kind of stuff that it's like, this is why we do it, and so this and a whole bunch of other reasons. So I think that's a good place to end this podcast. It's a lot of good information, a ton of information for new guys. There's a million more. There's a million more tips that we can give, but hey, you probably stopped listening about 45 minutes ago. So
let me just share this as we approach the holiday season. I want you guys to take time to recognize your feelings. There's a lot of folks who are, as we do this moment of silence, they're going to be thinking about loved ones. They're going to be thinking about other folks, and these are completely normal. And so we've got some stuff planned for the holidays as we spend time with our families. You may hear some. We've got some guests planned, some guest episodes that we've got pre-recorded that are going to come in, so that way we can spend some time with our families. But know that we're here. We're still on our socials. We're still able to be connected. And so if you're kind of feeling a little bit at loss. And Adam's shirt reminded me of that today. He's wearing his Par Check shirt. So personal accountability report, just let us know. Reach out to us. We're on all of our socials. Be sure to give us a follow, and we'd love to be your Par Check. So be well. Matt, you want to do it tonight?
Yeah. Roll it, Gigi.
Roll it, Gigi.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!